We got some good vets who know how to practice, and the big thing I talk to them about is when you do that first scrimmage. Kind of surprised you. It surprised you two times. Once when you run all summer, and then you could go do your first practice, and they see that there's a difference in playing football than all the different types of training that we do in the summer with Coach Spear as far as running is concerned. And then when you go play, what was close to a real game, we're tackling and you're exerting a little bit more, I guess, effort and focus. Some of the guys found out that, shoot, man, I had a 7-play drive and I was wore out. So we've got to, get ourselves into game shape by practicing hard and completing plays and, all the way to the completion of the play, not a couple seconds early. You even got to over-exaggerate that stuff. That's what I try to do as a head coach. We're trying to sprint off the field, sprint on the field. That's, part of our conditioning that we do, and it takes mental toughness to do it. Easy thing to do is walk off, jog off, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I thought it was a good workout today, and the weather cooperated, not only the temperature, but we didn't get the rain that I was a little concerned about it about an hour ago.
Yeah. What was your overall? How did you feel? Did you feel pretty good about what went on in the scrimmage yesterday?
Yeah, obviously some guys played better than others, but I just think the main part was just getting out there and having the opportunity to compete and play and real angles, really tackling and getting the guy down, really finishing a block, just understanding the bodies all around you. I thought Tajay Spears, had some outstanding runs. He's a dynamic football player. Amari did some great things. Cam Carroll ran with an awful lot of power. You know, Defensively, I thought, Rudy Dyson, Cornelius Dyson showed some stuff, fitting on some plays. And, it was just good for those guys to get to run around and instead of tagging off, really getting a tackle. We're going to do that at least 2 more times before the first ball game. So that our guys get used to it.
You mentioned Davis Dyson. I think the description from him is just ball player. The guy who seems to have good instincts, good ability. How impressed have you been with him as a true freshman?
Been excellent. He's just got a tremendous attitude. The guy's always got a smile on his face, and then he comes to work. He likes to compete. He's never really played safety before. He's more of a linebacker in high school. He played about 10 positions on offense. We were fortunate enough to have him in camp, and saw what kind of an athlete he was. He's big. In 2 years he's going to be 6'1", 6'2", 210, 215 pounds playing safety back there. And I was just impressed. He knows the difference between Kamir and Sikkim. He goes and gets them. So good job showing himself yesterday. I think he can help us in the kicking game as well.
Yeah. And what was your assessment of Keon and Pratt and Ibieta yesterday?
It was really, Coach Hall, myself, we're always talking to him about, doing it. The first thing you got to do as a quarterback is you got to be able to manage the game. You got to be able to understand down and distances. It's so important where you're going to go with the ball or what you're going to do based on down and distance. You got to be able to understand the play clock. You got to be able to understand the score of the game clock, all that stuff. Well, they got a little more of that yesterday. With the true down and distance, the managing the game part. Some people think it's bad to describe somebody as a game manager. That's Drew Brees is a great game manager, and he's a great quarterback. We want to have both. So it's good. They got a bunch of bodies around him. Coverage was a little bit tighter. Those situations are probably more beneficial for the quarterback than anybody else. So there are some good things, and there are some things we'd like to do differently. But overall, I thought that the guys learned from their mistakes, and it's going to help them down the road.
Jatavian Tolles in practice today caught a long touchdown. He'd been switched to cornerback for a while. He's back at receiver. Just what was the thought process there, and what do you feel? How do you feel about his
Well, he's got really good movement. He's got tremendous speed. I think he's a 10-700-meter guy in high school. And he's made some big plays for us. He's got an opportunity, and I don't say this very often, to be a dominating special teams player. Jet Glenn a couple years ago was a dominating type kicking game player, for us. And Jatavian's got that opportunity as well. And then, he's made some big plays catching the ball here too. Sometimes people forget about that Navy catch for a touchdown that he made to help win that ball game. So we worked him over a corner. He did some good things. But I think where we're at in terms of depth, some guys getting banged up over there at receiver, we moved him back over there, and we're going to keep him over there.
You've always worked a lot on special teams. Have you been able to even work on the kickoff coverage and stuff like that more this year with the more time you've had in with this program?
Yeah, we've worked on it a bunch. We've done, we've had the opportunity to, all these Zoom meetings that we had, and then we had those 2 extra weeks, and we did some walkthrough on that stuff as well. We had our long meetings. We got them out of the way, weeks ago. You always have an opening presentation for each phase, and, that lasts about an hour. Well, we did that before camp began, and that way we're able to get right into it and get reps and make corrections. And so we feel good about where we're at in the kicking game as well.
Obviously, there's potential for some disruptions in the next few days. Do you guys have any? I think you're practicing the Superdome on Thursday scheduled, but do you have any contingency plans for?
No, that's our number one contingency plan. We've got a emergency evacuation plan in case something were to happen with the squad. We had to leave NOLA. We do that, and I tell those guys over and over. Luckily, I've got a lot of New Orleans guys on my team, but we always take this stuff serious, and you probably know that a lot better than I do, Gary. But were you here during Katrina, Gary?
I was in Florida, but I had to come help my mother and sister get rid of their refrigerators that exploded out because they had to leave town.
I had to leave town.
Yeah.
I've actually got a couple guys that are, transplants. They moved because of Katrina, and came back here to school. But yeah, we take it seriously. Our university is they've got a booklet about what happens and all those things. The big thing we tell our guys is just we use what we call Teamworks to communicate, and it's an app they have on their phone. And we give those guys, we push out reminders to those guys, 2-3 times a day. But during a time like this, it might be 4 or 5 times a day. They just got to stay up with that. And we're definitely not doing anything tomorrow. That was going to be our day off anyway. But we're taking that day off, and we may move some days around as far as practice is concerned, depending on what happens over the next few days.
Good, thanks.
All righty.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.